Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Monday, November 7th. Got the big election tomorrow, midterm elections. Be happy when it's over, and then we only have to go how many weeks, months before we start hearing for ads for the 2024 election. But anyway, to do another King's X video. I'm wearing my shirt. 2008 album XV, which, as you can see, I got my copy here signed by the guys. All of them, I think. And I saw them in 2009, June 23rd. I always remember that because my father's birthday was the day that all those albums released. Dream Theater's The Black Lives with Silver Linings, Kiss Kisses, Meek Shell Inherits What's Left, I believe it's called. And there was another one. There was like 5 albums that day. One of them was like Darkest Hour, but and I saw them at the station. I remember my friend Josh, now known as Heavy Debriefings, talked about it. It's International Prog Day, but yeah. So this album came out though. So that was in 2009 though. But this album was released May 20th, so it was a little over a year from that point, 2008. I thought I had seen them in 2008, but maybe not. But this is the second album they worked for Inside Out Music, for Inside Out, and also the second consecutive album they released with producer Michael Wagener. I think I spelled his name wrong on the previous album, Overtones, last week. It's Wagener, who had history of working with a lot of like 80s metal bands and stuff like that. But XV, the title, I'm reading the book, and I've been waiting on, and I'll learn, but it explains where they get the title from that, because it's not their 15th studio album, as it says on Wikipedia. XV is the 12th studio album from King's X. Even if it's like the Marillion thing with, they're putting their most recent album, Arborfar's Dark, as their 20th, but that's including Less is More, which is a just reinterpretation of only one new song, and including Happiness is a Rose, a double. This album, I believe, if they're alluding to, there's the back, they're alluding to it as the 15th album. Maybe they're including the sneak preview album as one, so then it would be 13, and then they put out the Best of King's X, which would be 14. That's not an actual, it had some new studio tracks. I still don't remember. I think that unless they were factoring in live albums, or the live all over the place, maybe, I forget. Maybe that's where they got that. But I didn't show this, so I just kind of, I think maybe it's a little tongue in cheek. They're just kind of being fun. It wasn't 15 years because 2008, 1993. So anyway, but XV, the X and the V. Yeah, I don't know. This album, when it came out, I was really excited because I read a lot about it. Now Katie wants to say hello. You want to say hello? This guy needs to lose some weight. We need to, his problem is his sister. Sister likes to eat too much, but she doesn't eat a lot, but too often, and he just eats all the scraps, so he ends up, taking in more food than he probably should be. But, I don't know. We need to do more exercising with him or change his diet a little bit. Anyway, getting back to XV. It's the most recent album they released until the one that I'm going to talk about probably tomorrow, Three Sides of One. So it was 14 years. But in 2008, when this album came out, the lead up to it, and it's been 3 years since Overtones, right? 2005, 2006, really, 3 years. There were a lot of interviews how they were really excited about this album, and how it was like. They thought, in some ways, I thought it was like they considered it their favorite album or their best album. We're not getting a little incident over there with the Gato. And the ZZ Top comparison. That's what I remember. Doug and Ty mentioned how ZZ Top had some albums maybe in the 70s. It's a really dark looking album. It looks weird. It probably looks fine on the recording, but where they would put out a bunch of just, every song, it's like a bunch of little songs, and they were all really, all had things to enjoy about them. And revisiting it again today, I can I can agree with that to a point because there aren't really any like none of the songs are long. The longest song is like 4 minutes and 21 seconds. I think that's it. Yeah, the song "I Just Want to Live." I think that's the longest. Okay, no, Blue is 4:25. I mean, there's a few songs that are 4 minutes or a little bit more, but nothing over five. Nothing even more than 4.5. And a lot of them are under four. A lot of them are three, 3.5, two. Yeah, so I get that to a point. And they are correct in a way in that it seems like most of the tracks have things to enjoy. And so I was really into this. I remember because I wasn't as into Ogre Tones the previous record. This was I didn't consider it a comeback, but I felt like they did what they were trying to do in some ways with Ogre Tones better on this in a way. It just seemed to like flow. It was just they were hitting more on on all cylinders in a lot of respects. Now every track on here I don't love, but I love most of it. The biggest like sort of song I think of this album for, the one they played live probably the most, is the last track, which I forgot that was actually the final track. Minus the bonus tracks, the song "Go Tell Somebody." That is like King's X almost in a nutshell. It's got such a infectious groove. To use a cliche in the name of a band, I think infectious groove, like I don't know, like a local band here in Minnesota. It's such a it's groove rock. It's like totally, it's almost like groove prog. And the guitar solo, I don't even call it a solo. It's just that those guitar leads like midway through with Ty, that dude that's really big. It's just it's tremendous. It's an outstanding song that I'll probably never get sick of. That song "Go Tell." The message too. Just you like something, go tell someone else that you like it. Maybe they'll like it. It's got a great message. But you know the thing is, I remember, and I haven't listened to this album that much. That's like the only one that I've listened to the last how many years, since around that time. But it's really, I mean, Pray, Blue. Blue is one song I'm probably not as crazy about, but it's all right. But Pray, Repeating Myself, the Ty songs on this album are really good. Repeating Myself and I Just Want to Live. And I don't know, all those songs are really good. This may be Ty's in some ways his best album. Julie, well, Jerry doesn't seem to get. That's the one Julie, the one token Julie, Jerry Gaskell song on this year is really good too. Very trippy, very psychedelic. You know, to say, but it's kind of a ballad, like a love song in some ways. But again, haven't read the book yet, that chapter in the book. But when I do, I'll maybe understand it a little better. Rocket Ship is very riffy, very energetic. Move. You know, this is weird. The song "Free" is on here. And this is a different track list. That's, again, another instance where, I'm not sure, but Spotify, well, no. I don't know what the deal is with this. Because there's a track called "Broke," which I kind of remember that. But it's printed as "Free." Another anecdote, which maybe is explained in here. I almost feel like paging through it to find out, like, what exactly happened with that. Let's see here. I'm looking through the "Broke." It's listed as "Broke," so I'm thinking it's a misprint or something. I don't know. Why does it say "Free" on the back of my CD book? Okay, Ty rediscovering Paul Kossoff from Free, the band Free. It's a Free type vibe. Broke from Credit Cards. I don't know. That's a mystery that I need to research or something. Because it says track would be because it says side 1 and side 2. Of course, this is a CD. It was a vinyl. That would be if this does get issued on vinyl. Hopefully at some point. Side 2 or whatever would be track 7. Yeah. Does not say "Broke," it says "Free." Anyway, "I Just Want to Live" is another one from Ty that has this great guitar outro. Oh my god, is that good. And then another one that I don't want to dismiss, like there's 2 bonus tracks, which is, again, the whole thing with bonus tracks has always been, I've never loved it because it's like, if it's a good enough track, unless it's a concept album or something, unless it's, or like, in the case of like Yes, the bonus tracks and the remasters they put on, like on Drama, they put a couple songs with John Anderson on it, I think, like extra tracks from the Tormato period. I can't remember, but bonus tracks to me, it doesn't really make any sense because if it's a good enough song, it should just be on the album. But there's 2 on here: Love and Rockets, Hell Screaming, and No Lie. I feel they're completely opposite about them. No Lie, I don't really care about that much. But Love and Rockets is great. It's a very epic in some ways. I'm surprised it's not like considered the proper. I mean, this would be a great album actually because having Go Tell Somebody as the last track. Well, it's the best. It's my favorite song on the album. Maybe the best song, probably by most fans, by a lot of fans at least, the best song on this album. Doesn't seem to like provide or support the album's having it last. I would have it's like the climax. It's like it's the dessert or the main course for the appetizers. I'd put it first, or I'd put it at the end of, if it was a vinyl, the end of side 1. I forgot about the song All Right, because All Right and Move are both energetic, and so is Go Tell Somebody. Anyway, this would be an album that I might want to reorder the tracks, and I would include Love and Rockets in there. I forget which one it is. I think it's Move into I Don't Know, or Stuck is another one that I like. I was the second time through I listened to it again. I was like, yeah, I still enjoy Stuck, and Broke, and then I would put Blue. It's like sort of my least favorite tracks on this album, but yeah, repeating myself. This is a great record. So I'm curious what King's X fans feel about this now, some 14 plus years later. I didn't pull up the CD. Another picture I didn't show. What do they feel about XV, or it could be XII? 2008, the previous record to the newest. Is it among their best? Is it just decent? I mean, is it known just for Go Tell Somebody? I haven't listened to it as much since. I have a bad habit of that because there's so much music, and I want to catch up here a bit. And then just go into like a little bit of house cleaning here. Does I need this guy? Yeah, I need other tidbits. I know they did videos for it, and I think it did pretty well. Yeah, peaked at number 12 on Billboard on independent charts. Anyway, I got 2 laptops now because I'm transitioning. 2008 is one of my favorite years for music historically, especially in the last couple decades. It's not necessarily my favorite, but hard to argue about it compared to other years. The Year of the Apes and Androids Blood Moon came out. I mean, I've wanted to do a video series on this year. Ours album Mercy, also a 5-star album, and Ben Sinister's Stories of Brothers, Tales of Lovers. Then the Reina Kindo's Rhythm Chord Melly, a staple record, addictive. Burst's album Lazarus Bird. Foals Antidotes, which, I sometimes feel like that's my favorite Foals album. The Stiletto Formal, the Fiesta, that band that was a one-off, unfortunately. We'll be talking about in some videos if I do that series coming up about progressive art rock, 21st Century's progressive art rock. Mutt Yumu, Zilia, Cloud Cult's Feel Good Ghost. So, XV, it came out in May. It was probably, I remember this now. Ours was out in Blood Moon. Blood Moon I never heard of it. It was Apes and Androids, but those were the 2 albums. Then XV was right in it was in the top 5 albums. My first I did a mid-season list. It was in the top 5. Kasika, from the Japanese sort of post-math rock band with female singer, Dreamy. Their album Mosaic was number 10. Sculpture's album Embodiment, another album that was on my list earlier in the year, number 11. Wolf Parade's at Mount Zoomer. Great record. Number 12, Amanda Palmer's Who Killed Amanda Palmer, number 13. I enjoy that record a lot. Marillion's Happiness is the Road at 14, and King's X album XV at 15. So, you got some other stuff like Protest Heroes Fortress, Anathel's last album, Canopy Glow, Margot and the Milk So-and-So's, those non-animal records. Adebisi Shank, the debut album from Adebisi Shank, they were a instrumental math rock band, really upbeat, energetic band. 2008... Yeah, I mean, I just look at the top 20, 25 albums. While there are other years, I might say there are some albums that go further down that I enjoy more. Did you go down on here? Wow, it just, yeah, I mean, you get into like the 30s and 40s, some of the stuff is sort of, is decent, but not like favorites or anything like that. But those top 20, 25 albums. So that's why XV, well, I like I've been saying, it's a great record. I've enjoyed it. When I do my ranking video, probably it's looking at next week. I could try doing it tomorrow, but because I have a little extra time tomorrow. But if I had to guess, I'll do it next week. I don't know. I may be able to figure out a way to time it if I have enough time in the afternoon tomorrow. But otherwise, yeah. I mean, this is an album I always enjoyed. I clearly, it came after Ogre Tones. Enjoyed this more than Ogre Tones. I mean, it's spoiling it a little bit, but. So I wanted to kind of retro, talking about Ogre Tones and Black Like Sunday, just as where those two albums came in. This is like sort of the albums of the year portion of the video, because I forgot to include that stuff. So Ogre Tones came on 2005, which that's arguably another one of my favorite. I mean, you have too many favorite years, but another year I loved. Just to skip down to where Ogre Tones ended up. Ogre Tones I had at 34, and Pat Metheny's The Way Up, The Ebb and Flow, Time to Echolocate were ahead of it. Shaman's Reason. In 2005 was a terrific year also. I don't know if I would move it. If anything, it might go down. That was the year Receiving Under Sirens, Between the Heart and the Synapse, and Coheed and Cambria's Good Apollo 1 were just fantastic, epic records at the top. And then you had Dredge, Catch Without Arms, Ocean Size, Everyone Into Position, Mars Volta, Francis the Mute, Imogen Heap's sort of breakthrough album, Speak for Yourself, Mew and the Glass-Handed Kites. It was a terrific year. So, again, a year that I would want to do, I'll be doing those videos for hopefully down the road, maybe a year from now, maybe 9 months, I'm not sure when. I'll be talking about them in the progressive art rock thing sooner, a lot of them. So that's where I finished at 34, I mean, not awful, but, a lot of great stuff that year, and it's not a record that I, found that really compared, I guess you could say. It's got a lot of good songs on it, but as I did talk about in the video. So 2002, was it 2002? King's X put out Black Like Sunday, or was it 2000? It was 2003. Black Like Sunday, which, 2003 was another good year. It wasn't as good as those other 2 years, but where did I have Black Like Sunday? And then again, my familiarity with it was so vague, I couldn't really put it very high. I had it at number 44. For a year that's sort of, maybe more top heavy, it kind of speaks. I don't know, I like about half of it. Yeah, I probably would bump it up a little bit here. Like, I'd put it above K.O. Dodd and Broadcast, some of these other ones. Probably, They Live on the Sun, I'd put it above. I'm looking at 2003. That was the year the Menomena's debut album came out. And also the John Arch EP, A Twist of Fate. It's not anywhere near that, or Frangers from Mew. Going down the list, you have the Mars Volta, OSI, Muse, Ocean Size, Coheed and Cambria, Murder by Death, Sicketh, Between the Buried and Me, their second album, Josh Rouse, 1972, really good album, Opus Damnation, Avenged Sevenfold, Waking the Fallen, then Caddisfly's debut album, Did You Know People Can Fly? After that, and you have Dream Theater's Train of Thought. Train of Thought might make sense to be a little higher than that. Tug of War from Enchant's in there, A Holiday at Sea, Protest the Heroes debut AP, I forgot about that. Vertigo of Bliss from Biffy Clyro, Sheena Ringo's debut album, which is, I think it's her debut, it was her most highly regarded, which I pronounce it Kalk? K-A-L-K, Samen, Kuri, no Hana. But I haven't listened to that. It's been a long time. But I would, 3's Summer Camp Nightmare, Dresden Dolls. I'd probably put it at, that's around 29, 33. I'd put it in the 30s. So I'd probably bump up after becoming a little more and more familiar with Black Like Sunday. It'd go up about 10 spots. It's still not like an album that I would think of for 2003 so much, but having not really given it at least a reasonable chance, reasonable assessment, I would say that it goes up a little bit from the year. I don't know. I mean, again, the best songs on that record are pretty damn good. So Anyway, so that's XV. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you for subscribing if you recently did subscribe. I got one more album to do from King's X, so the 13th one that just came out early September, Three Sides of One. That's coming up hopefully tomorrow, likely tomorrow. I got a weird schedule where I'm working in the morning and then I got to go to I got some lab work to do with one of my doctors tomorrow, but then I'll be back. So this book, as I've mentioned almost ad nauseum, the Oral History, King's X, the Oral History by Greg Prato. I'm almost done, but I would, just based on what I think, unless I read the rest of it tonight, I potentially could. It's like 100 pages. More likely, I'll try to do like a final review of the rest of this book and talking about it next week. And the ranking videos. I might be able to squeeze a ranking video, like I said, the ranking video for King's X albums tomorrow, depending on schedule and everything like that. And then I posted in my community page on YouTube what my plans are. I've started to do some of the pre-work. I also want to I've tracked down a few things from Fates Warning related, so I'm able to do like an extra Fate. Maybe I'm going to do the songs. Fates Warning related, and I've been tracking down some stuff for those videos. The 21st Century Progressive Rock albums, and then EPs. And I put down 50. I'm going to have to probably... I'm rethinking that, and it won't be like 10 albums of video. It'll be more like 75 and be like 12, yeah, something like that. And then the artist list, which I've got a pretty good rough draft. So I would say if I'm doing two days a week, starting next week, the week after, mid-November, right around Thanksgiving, would be when I would get going on that stuff. And some of the other stuff. But again, thank you for watching. Again, what's your take on King's X's XV? And then when I finally finish the series, I'd love to see other people's rankings. I'll probably mention when I do the rankings. So, and I'll do a songs hopefully at some point. So, because I've wanted to do songs for all the different series: Marillion, Kevin Gilbert, The Deer Hunter, Fates Warning, and King's X. 50 hopefully. I don't know. But thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.